Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of our Impact, our TNA series in 2014, What If, and all that. I, of course, am CR Daredevil, bringing you all of the live action as we are on the go home for lockdown. Um, Obviously, kind of a little awkward because we didn't really get a chance much to build up stories for it, but you know what? We'll take it. We will take it. We will run with it. We will see what happens. Of course, we have two matches for that show already built. We have Abyss and Samoa Joe going at it. And of course, we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Magnus defends against Mr. Anderson tonight. Those two matches are going to collide as we have a big time tag team main event this evening here, where it's going to be Samoa Joe and Mr. Anderson taking on Magnus and Abyss in the main event. We also have a 4-team elimination matchup to determine the number one contenders for the TNA World Tag Team titles at Lockdown. On top of that, we're going to have to see what happens with the Beautiful People and Madison Rayne and what happens with everything else. We dive into the action tonight with a promo from AJ Styles opening up the show. He says that he's glad he was brought back here in front of TNA. He may not have a match at Lockdown at the moment, but that he wants to make sure he has a match on that show. So if there's anyone in the back who's feeling like they want a match, they can show up at Lockdown Sunday night and face AJ Styles. So Styles throwing out the open challenge for Lockdown. We'll have to see who he ends up facing at that show. But nice little promo to open things up. Gets a 79 rating. Can't go wrong with that. Then we have the 4-team elimination matchup to determine the number one contender for the tag team titles. And in a match featuring the American Wolves, Red Dragon, and All Night Express, it is none other than Jimmy Jacobs and Colt Cabana who get the victory. Red Dragon was eliminated first, then All Night Express, then the Wolves to end things. So Jacobs and Cabana are getting a shot at the TNA World Tag Team titles at Lockdown this Sunday. Yeah, it should be interesting. Cabana and Jacobs, kind of an interesting dynamic beat for the two of them. Colt Cabana is a super friendly babyface fun guy, and Jimmy Jacobs is kind of a emo-ish kind of guy. He was, all about emotions and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they're gonna be up against the Bromans, who are the champions. Of course, in this matchup, we got to see a little bit of interaction between the Wolves and Red Dragon, but not a lot. So we're not sure what's going on. That storyline's kind of still continuing, but yeah, Jacobs and Cabana gets the victory here. However, after the match, Jacobs and Cabana are celebrating when they get attacked by the Bromans. The Bromans come running in and attack them, beating down to the mat. I keep forgetting that I got to change that chemistry thing. Because I'm sorry, but Robbie and Brooke are going to have some chemistry, at least because they are dating at this point in this mod. So it'd be kind of weird if they didn't have any chemistry at all. But the Bromans, with a 3-on-2 advantage, get the beat down on Cabana and Jacobs, making them feel a little sore heading into this Sunday. Then we have a non-title match in the X Division. It features Paul London defeating Jay Lethal in 10:37 by countout. Paul London with a 62, Jay Lethal with a 58. They have great chemistry with each other, which is good. 70 rating for the match. Jay Lethal once again walking out in a match. He walked out last week against AJ Styles, and now here tonight he walks out against Paul London. So I'm not sure what's going on with Jay Lethal, but he's walking out of matches left and right. Kind of an interesting start to his run to this run in TNA. Afterwards, he gets interviewed by Christy Hemme, and he says, "You know what? I am bigger than a non-title matchup with the X Division champion. You want me to actually fight him? You want me to actually face him and actually try to, actually defeat him? Then I'm waiting until he puts the title on the line," and walks away. So apparently Jay Lethal thinks he is so big that he deserves an X Division Championship matchup. Whether that ends up happening at the pay-per-view, I don't know. Or, or in the future or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen, but he feels like he deserves a shot at the title. So we'll have to see how that plays out. 46 rating for that. After that, Christopher Daniels cuts promo. Says that that his issues with Jeff Hardy run deeper than most can imagine. That Jeff calls himself, goes around and pretends that he's this good guy, this person that everybody loves, and everybody's so infatuated with Jeff Hardy, when all he is consistently a disappointment. He consistently comes out here. He consistently gets himself involved in drugs. He consistently gets himself involved in all sorts of things outside of the ring that he shouldn't be getting involved in. And Christopher Daniels needs to save the world from him. He needs to save the world of professional wrestling from him. And if he has to beat Jeff Hardy down into oblivion to make him hit his rock bottom so that Christopher Daniels can bring him back up as the savior that he is, then so be it. So Christopher Daniels, interestingly, kind of putting out why he's targeting Jeff Hardy right now. We'll have to see where things lead with there. I don't think that these two are going to have a match at Lockdown, but you never know. You never know what's going to end up happening. Then after that, we have a 6-woman tag team matchup based off of last week's stuff, where the Beautiful People were attacking the Lucha Sisters after their matchup with them, and then Madison Rayne made the save. This week, it is a 6-woman tag team matchup as the Beautiful People they get Katarina Waters to join them. Not officially a part of the Beautiful People, but potentially. I mean, they do have history, obviously. When she was Winter, she obviously was linked to Angelina Love and was a former Knockouts tag team champions with her. So, maybe some sort of a connection there, but they were able to defeat Madison Rayne and the Lucha Sisters in 10:53 when Velvet Sky pinned Mia Yim while using the ropes for leverage, so she gets the win, but kind of by cheap matters. 52 rating for the match, which is really good. Leva Bates was really off her game, which kind of sucks. She only had 34. Mia Yim with a 30. Rayne with a 55, carrying the match. Waters with a 38. Velvet Sky with a 45, and Angelina Love with a 40. So, maybe this means that Velvet Sky gets a title shot. Who knows? Speaking of that, afterwards, Velvet Sky signals that she wants a shot at Rayne's title. And Rayne doesn't really give an answer here, so we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. Then after that, Jeff Hardy has a promo. He says he doesn't know why Daniel seems to think he can be a savior of Jeff Hardy, but Jeff Hardy doesn't need saving. Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy. He is beloved by the fans. He is beloved by people around the world. And yeah, he struggles with things at times but he has enough of a support group to help him through that stuff. And he doesn't need some supposed savior that is Christopher Daniels trying to save him. But if Daniels wants to fight, then he can have a fight with him. So who knows if there's going to be a fight at some point, but Jeff Hardy saying he doesn't need saved. He doesn't need Daniels to be a savior. And we're going to have to see at some point in the future what happens with those two. After that, we have EC3 getting a victory over Gunner in 8:54 by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage. 42 from EC3, who seemed off his game. 47 from Gunner. Ethan Carter III getting a victory, albeit by cheap tactics. It is still a victory for him. After that match, we have Eric Young backstage. He's saying that, he says, last week EC3 came out, ran down Eric Young, said that that ring was supposed to be filled with dignity and respect, and that a comedy guy like Eric Young shouldn't be in it. Yet all he just saw right now was someone who's supposed to be all about dignity and respect having to cheat to win, having to take cheap underhanded tactics to win, where somebody as some comedy act, some clown like Eric Young just won his match fair and square last week. So if EC3 has that much of a problem with him, he knows where to find him. He has no problem facing him, and he'll show him that He can still be a supposed comedy act and also make EC3 suffer. So kind of a interesting little promo there from Eric Young, as he kind of makes it clear that he welcomes the chance to face EC3 in the future if that's what Carter wants. We have Jeremy Borash hosting an interview segment. He's actually interviewing MVP, asking him about his issues with Bobby Lashley as of late. But before MVP can really respond, Bobby Lashley comes out. Lashley says that he doesn't seem to know why these issues are happening between him and MVP. But if Lashley wants to, but if MVP has that much of a problem with Lashley, he can step up to take on Bobby Lashley, and he can step up to the big challenge. And MVP says that he knows that Lashley's capable of more, and all he sees is just this patheticness over and over again. So MVP says that he's going to drag that potential out of Bobby Lashley one way or another, and that if he has to put Lashley through a whole bunch of pain to do so, then so be it. And Lashley says, listen, you think you may be able to inflict pain on me, but I'm Bobby goddamn Lashley, and I'm in the business of hurting. So, interesting stuff there, as Bobby Lashley says he's in the business of hurt. That kind of goes along with his new catchphrase I made up here on the spot. But interesting stuff there, as it seems like those two will be fighting each other in the near future as well. Then after that, we have a debut as Shelton Benjamin takes on Petey Williams and beats him in 9:29 by pinfall to pay dirt. 64 from Shelton Benjamin, who debuts a franchise player gimmick and gets a great rating. 52 from Petey Williams. Great match here. He gets a 70 rating. Really great match there for that stuff. I forgot that was a legitimate gimmick, but that's all right. But Shelton Benjamin getting the victory. It's going to be somewhat similar to the first run when it comes to Shelton Benjamin, because he is working New Japan as well. I could lock him up to a ring deal, so that way I don't have to share him with New Japan and only use him up sparingly, but I don't know for sure if I want to do that yet, so we'll see. But it may be kind of more of a sparingly, like he shows up, when he's available, he'll wrestle kind of thing. So I probably won't put him in any actual storylines, but he'll probably be there to, have matches and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens. But he does get a victory here in his debut over Petey Williams. Then after that, Madison Rayne is talking with CR Daredevil. She asked to be given a chance to wrestle Velvet Sky in a singles matchup at Lockdown, and Daredevil accepts the request. So it will be Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky at Lockdown for the TNA Knockouts Championship. But to make sure no outside interference happens, it will be inside the 6 sides of steel cage. So it will be a cage match between Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky. I wanted to make sure I had at least one cage match on the show, and I figured that Rayne and Sky probably have the biggest rivalry that's going to be on that show for sure, that I could do that in. So there you go. So Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky are going to be facing each other in a cage for the Knockouts Championship at Lockdown. Then after that, in our main event, got a 70 rating because Magnus and Abyss don't work together as a team, which is weird. But Samoa Joe and Mr. Anderson defeat Magnus and Abyss in 15:26 when Abyss was counted out while fighting Mr. Anderson. Joe was the legal person, which is why that count out victory happened. It wasn't supposed to be that way, so that's kind of why I'm confused there. I had it set where Magnus was the one who was supposed to lose, but I guess they just had Abyss counted out instead. The idea was supposed to be that Magnus walked out on the match. Magnus was the legal person. He was getting a lot of abuse from Joe and a lot of abuse from Anderson, and he said, screw this, and he just walked out on the match. That's kind of the idea of what actually happened there. But I got a 70 rating. Pretty good stuff there, as Joe and Anderson are able to get some momentum on their side heading into Lockdown. And they celebrate as Magnus and Abyss retreat to the back with a 60 rating there. Show itself gets 72. Increased popularity in 28 regions. Really good show for sure on that one. So yeah, we've got some matches ahead of Lockdown. We of course have the matches that we know for sure. We have AJ Styles' Open Challenge. We'll have to see who answers that. We have the Six Sides of Steel match featuring Madison Rayne defending the TNA Knockouts Championship against Velvet Sky. We have Abyss and Samoa Joe going at it. And of course, we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line as Magnus defends against Mr. Anderson. And we also, because I just remembered it, I had done that. We also have the tag team titles on the line, as it will be Jimmy Jacobs and Colt Cabana challenging the Bromans for the championships. Ratings for the night, once again, TNA killing it this week. 1.26 million, or 1.2 million viewers. 72 rating, 76 or 67 that is from NXT, which had the Backroom Boys defeat Hideo Itami and Madison Rayne. Mason Ryan. Man, I am doing great right now. The Backroom Boys being Big E and Incognito or Sin Cara. So, you know, the Backroom Boys of Big E and Sin Cara. That's a thing. But you know, another victory for TNA here, even though it's not much of a challenge. But we'll have to see what happens this coming Sunday at Lockdown. We'll have to see if Magnus can retain the championship against Mr. Anderson, as well as everything else happening. So thank you all for watching. Definitely appreciate it, and we will catch you in a future video.